You're watching WVIT. It's 35 degrees. Connecticut News Tonight is next.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Jones.
And I'm Anthony Everett. The lead story on Connecticut News Tonight. Bolstered by a decisive win in Michigan yesterday, Jesse Jackson brought his presidential campaign to Hartford tonight. At a rally of union workers at Buckley High School, Jackson was met with chants of "Win, Jesse, win." And Jackson heralded the success of his low-budget, grassroots campaign.
I didn't meet you through a commercial. I met you at the point of challenge. And I've stood with you across the years. If my competitors had my budget, they would surrender.
Jackson intends to pull off an upset on Tuesday, and looking ahead to November, he says he can't wait to beat George Bush.
Jackson spent the early part of the evening in southern Connecticut, where he drew a huge crowd in New Haven. As Cheryl Gray reports, Jackson supporters came to help him celebrate his victory in Michigan and to push him on to Connecticut's Tuesday primary.
Who you gonna vote for? Who you gonna vote for?
Young, old, black and white, they were all there to hear the message of the Reverend Jesse Jackson, a message that carried Jackson to the top in Michigan and one he hopes will do the same here in Connecticut.
Let's lift the sights of our nation. Let's rise from a history of racial battleground to economic common ground and on to moral higher ground. Let the people come together.
Tonight's rally in New Haven drew hundreds of people solidly behind the candidate. Supporters say Jackson's presidential campaign has long outgrown the word symbolic and is now best described as one of substance.
He's for everybody. He's not only for one person, he's for everybody. And I'm voting for Jesse Jackson. I want Jesse Jackson to win.
Jackson reminded the crowd that compared to his opponents, his is a campaign of meager resources, but one that has produced results.
We've won Alaska, Puerto Rico, South Carolina, Texas, Michigan. We keep on winning.
Despite the momentum of Michigan, the latest polls show that Jackson still has some ground to gain in order to convince Connecticut voters to choose him over Michael Dukakis. But according to Jackson, he has one and only one intent, and that is to win and win big in Connecticut. Cheryl Gray, Connecticut News Tonight.
Massachusetts Governor Michael Dukakis was out doing a little baby kissing and handshaking of his own today. Dukakis started out the day at a Greek Independence Day celebration in New Haven before moving on to meet with senior citizens at the Tower 1 Tower East complex, also in New Haven. Dukakis, who still holds on to a narrow lead in the delegate count, congratulated Jesse Jackson on his Michigan victory. The New England Democrat is a heavy favorite here in Connecticut, but taking nothing for granted.
Anyone who thinks that this race is over, or even that it's narrowed down to a two-person or a three-person race, doesn't understand the unpredictability of American politics. We've seen it in the past, we're seeing it again, and this one, in the words of a well-known New York Yankees philosopher, will not be over until it's over.
And it's not over, Dukakis added, until after the California primary on the 7th of June.
The Jackson victory yesterday has tightened the delegate race for the Democrats. Michael Dukakis is still in the lead with 611 delegates, but Jackson is just 9 back, a close second with 602. Al Gore has 364. Paul Simon and Dick Gephardt are well off the pace, each with less than 200 delegates. For the Republicans, Vice President George Bush still holds a commanding lead over Bob Dole. Bush has 784 delegates to Dole's 178. Pat Robertson has 17 delegates. Tennessee Senator Albert Gore spent much of his Sunday in Connecticut, attending a rally in Derby this afternoon before coming to Hartford for a fundraising dinner tonight. In between all that, Gore stopped by the studios of WVIT for an interview. With the economy listed as the top priority among Connecticut voters, Gore emphasized his position on defense spending.
With a budget deficit that causes us to borrow $500 million every 24 hours, we will be seeing a period of tight defense budgets. I do favor a strong national defense, and not least because this is a period when we may have unprecedented opportunities for reversing the arms race in a verifiable way. And I think it's important that we negotiate from a position of strength. At the same time, we have to eliminate wasteful spending.
Gore is currently a distant third behind Dukakis and Jesse Jackson in preliminary polls showing how Connecticut residents will vote on Tuesday.
Well, one Democrat who did not come to Connecticut is Richard Gebhardt. The Missouri congressman, faltering in his campaign, failed to get the badly needed win in Michigan. Gebhardt is meeting with family members now. He's scheduled a news conference for tomorrow to announce his plans, and aides have said he's likely to drop out of the presidential race. If Gebhardt wants to seek re-election to his House seat, he must file by Tuesday afternoon.
And in the weather department, we can expect a little more sun tomorrow when we wake up.
And some more reasonable and seasonable temperatures. Scott Dorval joins us with the morning forecast. Scott?
Okay, Lisa and Anthony, we start the second spring weekend, actually the second full week of spring coming up tomorrow. Looks like it's going to start off on a cold note, but definitely some milder air is moving into the area, and it will be nice by midweek. You can see skies are basically partly cloudy across Connecticut tonight. A good deal of cloudiness lagging to our west, but this will not affect Connecticut. It will all lift up to the northeast, and we should stay basically crystal clear by tomorrow morning, probably right through the middle part of the week as well. We do have cold temperatures to talk about tonight, though. Temperatures are generally in the low to mid-30s in northern parts of the state, but it is a little milder along the south coast, 39 degrees in New London, 34 in Sterling, and one of the colder spots out in Sharon, 31 degrees. So wake-up weather forecast for tomorrow calls for some cold conditions, temperatures in the 30s, but it will be quickly warming up through the 40s and lots of bright sunshine tomorrow. You'll definitely need your sunglasses heading to work tomorrow. I'll have the full forecast a little bit later on. Anthony, Lisa?
Okay, thanks, Scott. And when we come back, the story of a man banned from a church in Washington, Connecticut. We'll tell you why.
Also, an ultimatum for banks in Panama from Manuel Noriega to open or else. Stay with us.
You know, I've been talking to you about Mazdas for some time now, but talking can't really explain how great Mazda cars drive. You're going to have to discover that for yourself. And to tempt you in that direction, Mazda's putting its money where its mouth is.
The Mazda Test Drive Challenge. If you test drive a Mazda car and buy one of these competitors' comparable models, Mazda will give you a $200 U.S. savings bond. But if you buy a Mazda, you'll get a $500 savings bond.
Now that's impressive.
Wawa knows it takes time to prepare a luscious salad. So while you're dreaming about which Wawa salad you want, we're busy making it. Wawa's Light Bite Salads. There's one being made fresh today just for you. Captain Kidd's first visit to the New Jersey shore was no vacation. Legend has it that he came to hide some treasure, and perhaps a few crew members. But because the authorities were after him, he found it impossible to stay.
Today, some people still dig for buried treasure in New Jersey and find it impossible to leave. New Jersey and you, perfect together.
At Volkswagen, our engineers believe car and drivers should not merely act, but interact. To them, a Volkswagen isn't a vehicle for the driver, but rather an extension of the driver. Our engineers believe the most important moving part of a Volkswagen is the one behind the wheel. Lease a 1988 Jetta for only $139 a month at your participating Volkswagen dealer.
A Washington, Connecticut man staged a one-man vigil outside his church this morning. A temporary restraining order was issued against the man after he allegedly made advances to some of the church's female parishioners. He's been barred from the church, but as Juliet Meas reports, he plans to stand outside the church every Sunday until he proves his innocence.
78-year-old John Steinman was married here at the First Congregational Church in Washington, Connecticut 45 years ago. But it was only 6 years ago that he started attending regularly. That was when he was trying to get back together with his estranged wife, a member of the church's congregation. They were later divorced and she moved away, but Steinman kept coming to the church. Church elders say he attended not for spiritual guidance, but to meet women.
Is there anything wrong in that? It's a good place to meet people, meet women.
But the object of Mr. Steinman's attentions apparently thought there was something wrong with that, and Steinman was arrested 3 times for trespassing. And just last week, a temporary restraining order was issued barring him from the church.
In court this week, several women testified that Steinman had tried to pick them up in church. One woman, Virginia Steinway of Morris, says Steinman came as close as you can possibly get in a pew, grabbed her arm, and made lewd remarks during a hymn that referred to the Lord's bosom. Steinman denies all the accusations.
Did you ever approach any of these women and make these lewd remarks that they said you made?
Absolutely not. I wouldn't do such a thing. I'm a gentleman and I'm honorable.
Steinman says he's not really angry, but he says he's amazed a church would close its doors on anyone.
I feel I've done no wrong, and it is my privilege to go to this church. Visitors are always welcome in this church.
The church's pastor, the Reverend Richard Sears, would not comment today on Steinman's alleged romancing or the church's request for a temporary restraining order, but members of the congregation were more outspoken.
I think that the man is sick. I mean, he's gone into the church and made advances on a particular woman, and I just don't think that has a place in a congregational Christian church.
Under the circumstances, I think he should be kept out.
Steinman says he has no immediate plans for any legal action against the church, but he says he'll assert his right to attend by standing in front of the church every Sunday until this thing is resolved. In Washington, Juliette Mias, Connecticut News Today.
In other news tonight, a Hartford man has been charged with reckless endangerment, possession of explosives, and manufacturing bombs. 25-year-old Adam Dupery of Maple Avenue was picked up after police found explosives and other paraphernalia for making bombs. Dupery is scheduled to be arraigned tomorrow. Well, American soldiers in Honduras are getting ready to come home. Helicopters carrying tired soldiers swarmed back into Palmarola Air Base, and convoys drove in out of the Honduras hills today. The troops say they're happy to be headed home after their 11-day training exercise, and they would like to think their presence helped bring about a withdrawal and the signing of a ceasefire agreement.
Presence here basically did what the job was supposed to do.
What was that?
The Sandinistas went ahead and pulled back.
Our commander tells us that we were the most significant peacekeeping force here in the last 10 years.
The soldiers will start flying home tomorrow. The Army says it'll take 3 days to complete the return airlift of troops and supplies.
Opposition leaders in Panama are calling for a massive anti-government march tomorrow to increase pressure on military leader Manuel Noriega. Meanwhile, Noriega has warned Panamanian banks to reopen tomorrow or be forced open. The banks have been closed for 3 weeks ever since U.S. courts froze over $50 million in Panamanian assets. There is some concern that Noriega may actually raid the banks in an effort to meet his military payroll. Noriega was unable to pay his military staffers last week. That may undercut their loyalty, which analysts believe is essential if Noriega is to maintain control in Panama. 4 Arabs were killed this Palm Sunday in the Israeli-occupied territories, among them a 14-year-old boy. The Patriarch of Jerusalem canceled the traditional Palm Sunday procession as violence broke out in more than 25 towns and refugee camps across the West Bank and Gaza Strip. Israeli forces have arrested so many Palestinians in the last week that they've stopped releasing figures. This weekend was one of the bloodiest since the fighting began. 9 Palestinians have been killed, 26 have been wounded in the past 48 hours. Well, it's the old Whalers with a new look tonight.
Indeed, the Whalers playing some incredible hockey at home tonight against Montreal. Ken Adelson will have the highlights and sports coming up.
Hi.
How did you get up here?
In the amazing Isuzu Trooper 2. Of course, near the top, I did have to shift into 4-wheel drive. Want to buy it?
No, we're supposed to walk.
Can it take all of us?
No sweat.
Are you sure about this?
You have my word on it.
Take immediate delivery of the Trooper 2 with automatic transmission or 5-speed. See your Isuzu dealer now.
This part could cost 20 people their jobs. Overseas, they're making it cheaper. I got to cut overhead, or I got to cut people. But what more can I do? Unplug the machines, shut off the lights?
Don't work in the dark. Call Northeast Utilities. We've got ways to help you may not know about.
20 jobs, 20 people.
Dear Walgreens, I was recently rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery. The doctor needed to know the strength of my medication, and I didn't know. Then the nurse called Walgreens. The pharmacist checked his computer, and my doctor had the information he needed.
Isn't it nice having the Intercom pharmacy network nearby?
Walgreens is hippity-hopping with Easter values. Everything you need to fill your Easter basket, from candy to toys, plus the basket itself, all at Walgreens.
The Hyundai Excel is a great car for today's young families. The front-wheel drive Excel is durable and reliable, so it can take whatever the road or your family can dish out.
Boys, don't vaporize each other.
It has more standard features than any car in its class, and plenty of room for the kids to relax in. And at $53.95, the Excel helps you to afford something else. A little peace and quiet. Hyundai, cars that make sense.
Good evening, everybody. Let's wrap it up for you. It is hard to believe this is the same Whaler team that just a week ago was frustrating to watch and downright boring at times. All of a sudden, it's fun again. And whatever magic potion Coach Larry Plow has come up with, hopefully the Whalers can bottle it for the playoffs. Tonight against Montreal, watch Mike McEwen make the nice steal. Left side of your screen. Stu Gavin ends up with the puck, and it's 1-0 for the Whale. In the second period, the game tied at 1. Chris Chelios gets his own rebound. He beats Rich Brodeur, and it's 2-1 for the Canadians. But a gritty Hartford team came back. We'll move into the third period. Watch this, a rare Canadian mistake. That's Bob Gainey and goalie Brian Haywood looking like they're going in slow motion. Ron Francis took advantage, 2-all. 50 seconds later, Dean Evison is going to get the puck across to Carey Wilson. Nice backhand pass. Wilson puts it in. That was the winning goal. That made it 3-2. Richard Brodeur came up big late in the third against Claude Lemieux. A great save as Brodeur comes way out of the net. Your final 4-2 for the Whalers. Their fourth straight win. 7 points up on Quebec. It looks good. Looks like Hartford and Montreal will meet in the first round of the upcoming playoffs. Elsewhere in the NHL, Pittsburgh wins over Quebec today, 6-3. Detroit by 2 over Buffalo. And New Jersey gets by the Rangers. Well, college basketball's main event is all set. The Final Four has been decided, and the most impressive of all, the Wildcats of Arizona. This might be the shot of the tournament. Watch Tom Tolbert. He's hammered by J.R. Reed. Somehow gets the ball to go in. The Arizona bench goes wild. You think they liked it? I think it's worth another look. Look at this. He gets hit going backwards and sideways. Somehow he flips the ball up. A little English, a little Spanish, and the thing goes in. Anyway, that set the tone. This is the same guy, Tolbert, right here. He puts the ball in. That put Arizona up by 4. Again, the bench loved it. Arizona broke open a close game. Sean Elliott led the way with 24 points, 2 of them right there. Your final 70-52. All right, the Midwest, Kansas and Kansas State. Kansas State took the early lead, shooting well from the outside, but Danny Manning led Kansas back, and Coach Larry Brown gets a little emotional on the sideline. Down the stretch, it was all Kansas. Scooter Barry with the backdoor move here. Kansas on the yellow brick road to Kansas City, 71-58. They move into the Final Four. Here's the way it sets up for you. The Final Four on Saturday. Kansas will take on Duke. Oklahoma will play Arizona. The title game Monday night, April 4th. Well, the UConn basketball team will head for the Big Apple tomorrow as the Huskies get ready for the Final Four of the NIT tournament. The UConn basketball team has been a pleasant surprise under second-year coach Jim Calhoun. And here's the way it sets up for you. On Tuesday night, Ohio State will play Colorado State in the first game, and then UConn will take on Boston College at 9. The title game will be Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. Well, after a soggy day yesterday, the sun came back out in Florida just in time for Mark McCumber to cruise to the victory in the Players' Championship. This over the TPC course, the original one outside of Jacksonville. This is the famed 17th with the Island Green. Golfer's nightmare. There's no room to miss, as you can see there, and he does keep it on the green safely and held on to his lead. McCumber wins by 4 shots over Mike Reed. And in the finals of the Lipton Tennis Tournament, also down in Florida today, Jimmy Connors with some bright moments against Mats Wilander. Connors has not won a tournament in almost 4 years. A little surprising there. I would have thought he might have won. Watch this one right here. Connors comes in and the put away. But Connors just could not stop the consistent Wilander. The Swede in the near court on this point was just too much and won this match in 4 sets. Look at that passing shot. Connors has finished second 11 times in those 4 years that he has not won. Baseball today for you as we finish things up. The board from the exhibition circuit goes this way. Boston over Texas. The Mets are shut out by the Houston Astros. And the Yankees win. Dave Righetti gets the victory over Detroit. And as the countdown continues, a week from Monday at Fenway Park, opening day.
Boy, is that all?
That's a week from Monday. A week from tomorrow.
Yeah.
A week from 40 minutes from now, we'll be playing baseball for real.
I'm looking forward to it. But still plenty of basketball to come as well. Because next Monday night is the
championship
final.
game. That's some Monday for sports fans.
All right, thanks a lot, Ken. Well, there's a warming trend coming our way as far as the weather for the week ahead.
Sun and temperatures in the mid-60s, if you can believe it. Scott Dorval will have the forecast when we come back. Stay tuned.
Executive. Lathrop. Westbrook. J. Thomas. Honda of New Haven. We're about to unleash man's best friend. Honda. #1 in owner loyalty for the last 10 years, and now Motor Trend's Import Car of the Year.
Every night while you're sleeping, UPS is maintaining its status as the only company that delivers overnight to every address coast to coast. And now we guarantee it. Introducing UPS Next Day Air Guaranteed. And because we're so efficient, we'll still do it for up to half what other companies charge, which is guaranteed to cause our competition some sleepless nights. UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
The house, the lawn, and my farm are all the same color. Brown.
Call Old Fox, New England's most trusted expert on healthy green lawns.
I do yard work. Every week I water the weeds, mow the dandelions, herd the grubs.
Our licensed professionals get your lawn thick and green, and we guarantee your satisfaction.
Oh, honey, our first lawn.
I remember when we made that first call.
Call Old Fox now for your free lawn analysis and get your lawn growing.
Regina proudly announces the discovery of something obvious. If you take the best part of this vacuum cleaner, and stick it onto this one, you get something much better. Introducing the Regina Housekeeper. Housekeeper. It cleans floors and then switches instantly to clean here and everywhere. Accessories cost extra, but you'll never touch a vacuum again once you get a housekeeper.
Well, despite a little bit of leftover rain early this morning, it turned out to be a pretty good ending to the weekend this Sunday. Mostly cloudy this afternoon, but still our high temperature managed to get up above normal. We made it up to 58 degrees, which is a good 9 degrees above normal for this time of year. But the temperature is falling. You can see it's 35 degrees for the low tonight, and that is the current reading outside. So we have a fairly cold night coming up ahead. Low temperatures probably in the upper 20s in many sections of the northern areas of the state. The pressure is rising from 30 inches, and our winds are just generally light out of the west at 4 miles per hour. Observer reports from across the state generally show temperatures close to 30 up in the north, about 38 degrees down in West Haven right now. Temperatures along the coast will stay in the mid-30s, just a little bit above freezing tonight, but it will feel fairly cold with just a light breeze along coastal sections. But quickly, these temperatures will be warming up during the day tomorrow. The National Satellite View paints a very good picture for the northeast over the next couple of days. You can see some dark clouds just to our west, but again, these will not affect southern New England. They're drying out and lifting out to the northeast, and behind it, our weather will be coming from the southwest. It is very dry, so we can expect a lot of brilliant sunshine coming in for tomorrow, most of Tuesday, and a good deal of sunshine as well coming in during the day on Wednesday. The national radar really not showing much in the way of precipitation. A few snow showers over the lakes area right now, but again, those will not affect us. They will stay put. It is dry generally all the way to the west, except down in the western portions of Texas, but this moisture will take a long time before it gets anywhere next to southern New England. The rain that came yesterday has pushed off the eastern seaboard. You can see it with this frontal system out off the coast. We've got a cool, dry, northwesterly flow of air coming in. That will keep us fairly cold tonight. But tomorrow, high pressure will slip into our area, and as that builds in, our winds will diminish, and it looks like a nice sunny afternoon coming up for tomorrow, as well as a sunny morning. And sunshine will continue into Tuesday and Wednesday, and the good news is temperatures are beginning to warm up in the central plains. That warm air will be heading in our direction, so we'll probably see 50 degrees for a high tomorrow, maybe 60 on Tuesday, and there's an outside chance of possibly 70 degrees by Wednesday. So here's the forecast in detail for tonight. We'll just generally have partly cloudy skies, but becoming clear towards morning and a much colder night with temperatures 27 to 36 degrees for lows. Tomorrow looks like a super day, lots of bright sunshine. It'll be seasonably cool, high temperatures 49 to 53, and the sunshine index looks like a perfect 10 out of 10. But tomorrow night, another clear and fairly cold night with calm winds. Temperatures are close to freezing, but then during the day on Tuesday, sunny and pleasant once again. Generally a calm day with a little bit of a sea breeze developing in the afternoon. Temperatures should crack 60 degrees. And if the warming trend is right, it might be just like last week when we had that very warm day. We could have temperatures close to 70 on Wednesday.
I can handle that, no problem.
Partly sunny, not looking too bad.
And sea breezes as well. I mean, this
sea
is starting
breeze,
to sound
the first
like
signs
summer.
of spring. Anthony picks it up, right? That's it.
Okay, well, unfortunately, on a slightly more unpleasant subject, tax time is rapidly approaching, as we all know too well.
That's part of spring, though. When we come back, we'll have some words of interest from the IRS. Stay tuned.
Be one of America's winners when you bring home savings from Dodge. Combine our cashback and discount packages for big savings on most new Dodge cars and trucks in stock. Save big on cars. $1,525 on Daytona Shelby Z. Save on trucks. $1,900 on full-size Ram pickups. $2,250 on selected Dakota 4x2s. Save on imports. $1,356 on Ram 50. $955 on Colt DL. So see your Dodge dealer today and be one of America's winners.
It's gotta be a Dodge.
Unlike other copier companies, at Meter we give copiers all our attention, so you won't have to give them any. Unlike other copier companies, at Meter we spend all our resources perfecting our copiers, so you won't have to spend yours repairing them. You see, at Meter we have to make more reliable copiers because unlike other copier companies, our entire business relies on them. Meter, all we make are great copiers. Call 1-800-ABC-METER.
Nationwide's homeowners insurance can protect against the unexpected. But what if something happens to you? Your family could lose their home entirely. For total home protection, you need both Nationwide's homeowners insurance and Nationwide's mortgage life insurance for coverage against the unexpected. Another way Nationwide helps provide blanket protection for your family and your home.
Nationwide is on your side.
Another 30 seconds of common sense. The Hyundai Excel GLS versus the Sentra GXE, the Mazda 323 Luxury, or the Corolla LE. Ready? Air conditioning, check. Power sunroof, check. AM/FM cassette, check. Alloy wheels, check. Now check this. The Hyundai Excel GLS with all these goodies still costs less than the competition without any of the goodies. Check for yourself.
Test drive the 1988 Excel at your local Connecticut Hyundai dealer. We sell cars that make sense.
If you haven't filed your 1987 federal tax return yet, you may be happy to know that you're in good company. The Internal Revenue Service says fewer than half of all Americans have filed their income tax returns, with a deadline less than 1 month away. The IRS also says that the tax refunds are bigger this year and that filers are making fewer mistakes than had been expected. Officials expected more mistakes due to the new tax laws that took effect this year.
Well, they haven't seen my mistakes because my taxes aren't in yet.
Well, I think that could be part of it. Yeah. That and people who owe money probably haven't filed.
That's a big part of it.
Right.
That's what made this Sunday edition of Connecticut News Tonight. I'm Anthony Everett.
And I'm Lisa Jones. For all of us here on the weekend, thanks for joining us and have a good week.